I'm so excited for this project. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. This is my first diorama. I don't know if you can hear me, but this is my first diorama, and honestly, I don't know if this is gonna turn out well. The only skill and knowledge that I have when it comes to diorama is watching YouTubes, and I've been just, like I said, I'm like, ooh, I can make that. I can make that. And here I am making stuff. I'm so excited. I'm weird, don't mind me. Did you know that an overwhelming 98% of you that are watching this video right now is not subscribed to my channel? My current goal is to bring that down to 70%. So please, if you could do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button, that would tremendously help my channel. And in return, I promise to make bigger and better content for you. Your support means the world to me, so thank you so much.
Any diorama starts with a good base, and I am using XPS foam for my base, which is pretty much the gold standard for any kind of build. For my structure, I'm using cardboard box materials. I'm using a postal box specifically because I get a lot of stuff from my mom. She's very sweet. She sends me all kinds of things, and I have all of these things just laying and just piled up in the garage, so I said might as well.
Day 2 of this build, and it's already driving me insane. Let me tell you, the YouTuber creators that I watch making these dioramas, I don't know how they make it look so easy, because when I was watching them, I was like, I can do that. I can do that. And now that I'm making this diorama, let me tell you, it's a whole different freaking beast. I can paint all day, but making dioramas like this, it's a whole different challenges, and it's a lot of different experimentation. And I'm already running into like 17 different problems, and I'm only at just the first stage of it, which is building the structures, right? I know the back wall right here, I want it to be left open because I want to be able to put miniatures inside the diorama and actually create my character out of clay selling the potions, right? Because I think that would be cool. Maybe I'll put some, like, I don't know, chimney with like a cauldron that somebody's making like a potion, and like some more bookshelves selling more potions inside, something like that. So I need to have the back wall open. Okay, I've already established that, but what does that mean for the roof, right? How am I gonna fix it? I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. A lot of this project, I would say 80% of it is already winging it. I think the only thing I can really take out of this is that I can only get better as I make more diorama in the future. For now, regardless of how this diorama turns out, I think the main takeaway for this diorama is that just lesson learned, and just, you know, hopefully I can make bigger and better diorama in the future.
The first thing that you have to pay attention when you're making dioramas is you have a reliable cutter. Trust me, you want a cutter that is sharp enough, and you don't put a lot of pressure on your hand, because by the end of this diorama build, my hand was hurting so much, and I actually have to like rest in between. So that was a painful lesson. I know it's common sense. I'm very scared of sharp cutters, but after this build, I'm definitely a lot more confident handling cutters. Now let's build a tree. The tree is very simple. I basically started with this green wire that I found from Amazon, and I started looping that back and forth. As soon as I got the desired height and thickness that I want for this tree, I went ahead and started cutting the ends so I can split these wires, and that's how I actually start looping the little branches that you eventually see here. The original idea was for me to cover this tree with air dry clay, but I was so inexperienced in it that didn't turn out so well. So I went ahead and tried doing a different method, which is diluting a Mod Podge and covering this tree with little cuts of paper towel. And I'm gonna go ahead and let that set on the side for a while because I want it to completely dry first before I add another layer. Building the bricks was super easy, and I basically just used the tried and true method that I have seen all over YouTube for people that makes dioramas. Basically, what you do is you cut the brick pattern on an XPS foam with an X-Acto knife or a cutter. And that's your first pass. Your second pass is going to be a pen. The reason why you want to do a second pass with a pen is because it makes it stand out even more and it just looks better. I can't explain it, just do it. I went ahead and basically made this aluminum ball and I pressed it on the XPS foam to create this wonderful texture, and unfortunately you can't see it here, but once I start painting it you'll definitely see it, and it makes a huge difference. Making the beams was also really easy. I wanted more texture on these coffee stirrers, and I did that by using the grooves of a screw, and I just run it on that. And after that I went ahead and glued it to my potion shop where I want them, and it's looking pretty good. I think making the shingles was definitely not the so fun part of this build so far. And the reason is because it's very tedious. I basically just found a cardboard box, a cereal cardboard box, and I cut that into thin strips, and I cut it diagonal in one direction and I cut it diagonal in the opposite direction. And after that, I have to make a lot of shingles, and I went ahead and glued it with PVA glue on my roof, and I cut it to size, and I basically just kept doing that until the entire roof is covered.
Anyway, I ended up building the base off camera, and I wish I have a better excuse other than me going absolutely nuts. And the reason for this is because I started feeling really overwhelmed. It doesn't help that this is my first ever diorama that I built in my life, and I have pretty high expectation, and there's going to be a lot of issues and troubleshooting that is involved. And that's what I did majority of the time. I'm fairly new at YouTube, and to film and to make something for the first time, it's a recipe for disaster. As if that's not even enough, I was also feeling really sick last week, so here I am. I did the best that I could with what I have. I'm so sorry if the quality of this video is not necessarily the best. I cannot promise perfection, but I can promise to be better every single time I produce content. So thank you so much for being so patient. So everything's looking like a mess right now, and I truly apologize for that. I guess this is just part of being a creative. You do the best that you can to maintain a clean workspace, but regardless, stuff gets everywhere, and you just do the best that you can to clean up afterwards. So I apologize for that in advance, but to give you guys an update of what has happened, this is what my diorama is starting to look like. It looks like a Halloween project, to be quite honest with you, and I can assure you that it is not. The only reason why it's starting to look like this is because I went ahead and primed this with Mod Podge and black acrylic, and I did that to make things sturdier. I learned a lot of my skills by watching other YouTubers like Nerdforge, and it's really nice to know what really works already, so you don't have to like reinvent the wheel. And the channel is just freaking awesome, and I am not gonna lie, majority of the things that inspires me is from that channel, so check them out if you guys have a chance. I went ahead and created the blueprint of this diorama. It's gonna have 7 bookshelves in total. It's gonna have a cash registry here, and it's gonna have like a potion making table right here. This is where the fireplace is gonna be, and I'm so excited to fill these bookshelves with a bunch of potions and a bunch of books and scrolls and a bunch of like items that are just magical and really just make the inside so beautiful. And so I'm really excited for creating these miniatures. I cannot wait to get to the painting, and I mean, I think that's always the best part of any kind of build.
I made the wooden floor with coffee stirrers, and I basically just glued them on a piece of paper with PVA glue. I put heavy books on top of them and let that dry overnight to keep them straight because I don't want any buckling on the wood. And then afterwards, I basically just cut off the excess with my very dull cutter. The furniture is made out of balsa wood. I tried using popsicle sticks, but unfortunately that didn't work out so well for me. Plus, balsa wood is a lot softer and it's easier to work with and to cut it. Basically, what I did here is I cut the parts of the furnitures and glued them together with Gorilla Glue. Make sure you hold them for 10 seconds because I also experimented with a lot of different glues, and Gorilla Glue is the one that works the best so long as your surfaces are clean and they're also sanded. They're gonna stick very well. I encourage you to experiment with different kinds of materials because what works for me doesn't mean it's necessarily going to work for you. So if you have any recommendations based from your experience or things that you've heard in the past or somewhere, comment down below. I would love to learn from you guys.
So I have finished working on my wooden floor and also a couple of my bookshelves. I'm almost done. I just need like 2 more bookshelves, but I'm starting to get tired of like the monotony on working on wood. So I'm actually gonna take a break from that and start painting the diorama, at least the outside, so I can gain a little bit of motivation instead. I want to throw in something that I love doing, something fun. I'm almost 2 weeks in this project. It's obviously going to take me longer, and I need to get my motivation back as much as I could. Hi, hello. It's been 3 weeks. So far, I'm very happy with how things are turning out. I have completely painted the outside, although I don't know, I kind of want to repaint the bricks and the stones again because it's just not, it doesn't look how I want it to look. It doesn't look realistic enough, and that's what I'm trying to capture with this diorama. But Since I'm already so behind on my schedule, I'm just gonna have to be happy with how it looks, and hopefully I can save it with adding the foliage and other things outside. I went ahead and stained these bookshelves, and I will be staining them for the second time today because they look a little light for me. I kind of want this to be a little bit dark. Today my goal is to make the table and the chairs. I will be working on the potion table. Hopefully I can get a lot of things done today. That's always been my goal, but like, I mean, at this point, I just go with the flow. I'm trying to get this project done by the end of this week so I can go ahead and start creating the next content, because I want to be consistent with my YouTube upload as much as possible. And so far I am 2 weeks behind. So we will work with what we have and it's going to be okay. Okay, Patricia, don't forget to hit record next time. I'm working on my windows and I want my windows to be stained glass windows. I could use resin to make the stained glass window, but I feel like that's a new skill for me to learn. And honestly, I don't have the budget right now and the time. So my solution is to use these transparent sheets. And I basically took this from my stickers that I used from my old scrapbook. I'm gonna use alcohol markers and hopefully this works. We shall see. Wish me luck. So you have to find the right side of where you're gonna draw. Otherwise, the alcohol markers are not gonna stick. You can easily wipe them. I remember I drew on this before and alcohol markers were sticking on it, but it turns out I was using watercolor markers. So let me do this again. I'll be right back. So today I'm finally going to fill all of these bookshelves with books and potions and scrolls and different kinds of mushrooms and weird magical plants and herbs. I can't wait to see what I come up with. I'm super excited for this part because this is the part that I've been looking forward to do for 3 weeks. We're finally getting to the home stretch. 3 weeks. Let's go.
Potions. Beads are your best friend when it comes to making potions. The first thing that I do is I stick these beads in a toothpick, and the reason why I did this is because it's easier for me to paint it this way, and if you stick it far enough, it can actually act as the potion caps. After that, I painted it with black acrylic as my primer. Then I painted it in different colors so I have variety of potions. Other ways to make potions is basically just taking different kinds of beads and literally gluing different kinds of stuff in it. Beads are mostly round, so you're gonna want something at the bottom to stabilize it and for it to be able to stand on its own. And you can go crazy and come up with different kinds of potions. I definitely had too much fun making this and made more than I needed. As if that's not even enough, I went a little further and actually filled these little potion bottles that I found from Amazon with glitters. Originally, the idea was for me to use these potion bottles as all the potions for my diorama, but I chose not to do that because the scale needs to be really large. It's almost like a dollhouse, and I feel that it's too big of a size for my first ever diorama, so I chose to use the beads instead. Making the mushroom is kind of tricky because it's so little. You basically want to roll tiny little clay and shape them using the end of a paintbrush, as you can see me do here. And then you're going to create teeny tiny stems and glue them on these little caps that you see me do here. It needed to be so precise and it felt like I was doing operations. I filled these little bowls that I made with literally the seasonings that I have in the kitchen. I know it sounds so silly, but it works. I want this to act as little bowls that's filled with different herbs that wizards and witches use to make potions, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do here. You can use different kinds of things, different kinds of herbs. I use some salt, I use some rosemary, thyme. You can go crazy with this, and as with the potions, I definitely had fun.
So we have today and tomorrow to finish this project, and honestly, I can't believe that we're almost done with this entire diorama. I can't believe that I got to the point where I'm actually seeing things put together and it's making sense versus to when they weren't. My doubts and my fears really started creeping in. This is probably a huge undertaking for me. I haven't thrown myself in a project that takes 4 weeks to finish, and that's such a huge accomplishment for me. I honestly never thought that I'd get to the point of finishing it because I almost wanted to give up so many times. What's the point of staying up all of these late night hours when you don't even know if this video is gonna take off or if this project is even gonna turn out good? And there's so many things that I have to learn. There's so many new things to me that just made me even more anxious, most especially in the beginning. And well, not just in the beginning, towards the end and throughout the entire process. I'm just really grateful that you took your time to support me in this video and to watch me out of all the creators that you guys could easily watch. I really appreciate it and it means the world to me. It's such a huge support. So thank you so much for sticking by my side, and I can only see myself making even bigger and bigger projects. So I'm so excited and I can't wait to just be done with this diorama and show you guys how it turned out.